Hello and welcome to this episode of The Issue, where we examine pressing matters affecting our nation. My name is Victor Mwila. Our focus on this episode is the unexpected weather patterns sweeping across our country, leaving us with what you may call unseasonal rains and cold spells. So today we are hosting the Zambia Meteorological Department to help us understand these phenomena and shed more light on what ZMD is doing in their role of dissemination of weather and climatic information. In the studio with me are two experts from ZMD, and these are Ms. Mika Tembo, the Principal Meteorologist, Forecasting and Research. I also have Mr. Lyson Piri, Principal Meteorologist, Applied Services. I would like to welcome you both to this edition of the Issue program.
Thank you very much and welcome.
We are always happy to host your department here because it's very crucial, providing very useful information that we need to make informed decisions in different sectors. So first things first, let's look at your mandate, Mr. Piri. What do you do as ZMD? Would you explain so that we come from this premise and then we're going to talk about what we are experiencing now in terms of weather conditions and what to expect in the next 7 days or so. But let's start from here. What is your mandate as ZMD?
Yeah, so thank you very much, the moderator. And in responding to that, I want to start by explaining that the Zambia Meteorological Department is a government institution, and it is sitting in the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment. That's our mother ministry. And so in there we have our mandate, and our mandate basically is to do weather observations. We analyze the observations that are made. And when we analyze that, the observations that are made from different measuring points, then we come up with different products and services that eventually inform into what basically we are doing. So basically that is our mandate.
Right. Ms. Tembo, let's come to this now. You know, of late, across the country, we've seen significant shifts in weather patterns. And we are experiencing what you might call unexpected rain and cold weather right across the country. Could you tell us what is causing these changes?
Okay, thank you so much. As you may know, I think climate change is real. So whatever we are experiencing, we are seeing that it is in the extremes. So like the rain season, the 2023-2024, we saw that we went into the extremes where starting from January, February, where we are supposed to have significant rainfall, the country was dry, more especially the southern parts of Zambia. So these are the things we are saying that the climate is changing because we are seeing that we are going into extremes. If it's time to have drought, we will have extreme dryness. So if you talk of floods, floods are occurring in different areas. So talking of what is really causing these changes, I think it's the same climate change and what people as human beings are doing. That's why we need to, I think, get these advices where people say don't cut trees, because when you cut trees, you cause this and this, because there will be global warming. When you deforest, some of the energy sources we are using, like coal, it produces more carbon. And if you have more carbon, you are having this global warming. After global warming, you are disturbing the atmosphere. So this is what we are saying. We are going through climate change, such that when you look at April, when you look at all the stations in Zambia, we are saying that this is the first time we are seeing floods occurring in April, with some stations over, maybe when you look at the data, 40 years. In 40 years, this is the first time you are seeing Namwala receiving 80 millimeters in 24 hours. And you find that some areas in Nyimba having more than 200 millimeters in 24 hours. So these areas, and also we also recorded the floods and flash floods in areas in southern province. So these are the things which are happening, and mostly we are saying that this is the changing of the climate. So you anticipate that you expect extreme weather events, floods, droughts occurring in areas.
We're going to revisit that, and I'll come back to that, and we'll talk about, because of course citizens have been complaining of extreme cold weather at this time of the year, so we'll come back to that. Okay. But Mr. Piri, I'm sure with the changing weather patterns and climatic conditions, I'm thinking then that even in terms of the products and services that you're providing as a department, you are also trying to ensure that you match with the times. I would like you to just shed more light on the products and services that are available in your department.
Okay.
To help us as a country to plan, to help us to understand what to expect.
Yeah, so sure. So thank you so much. I just wanted to also add a little bit on our mandate. Bwana Moderator, you may wish to know that meteorology is one of the oldest professions in the world or in living history.
So it's there in the Bible?
It's there in the Bible. During the Noah times. That was meteorology at work. If you look at the time that 7 years were forecast for 7 lean years and 7 fat years, that was meteorology at work.
Wow.
So really we have been in this business for quite some time.
Sure.
But of course I think what is really happening now is the complement of using the science to actually explain some of these things as they do happen. Yeah, so in trying to also enlighten our viewers about the products and services, of course, I think one of the biggest one usually is the seasonal rainfall forecast. A seasonal rainfall forecast is of a much longer duration. It's about 6 months. And this product basically tries to explain what the expectations are for a particular season. I think from what is happening right now, the focus was given that you would have rainfall deficits as a result of coming out of the El Nino conditions. So definitely that one at least made people to start planning and do the right thing. So apart from the seasonal forecast, which is of a longer duration, now we start now coming down. We go to what we call maybe a monthly focus. A monthly focus also will try to give several weather elements that are expected within a month. Of course, that also is now trying to reduce on the time of planning. Then from there, we have what we call the 10 days agro-meteorological bulletins that speak to the farmers what is expected in a 10-day duration. And these are provided thrice in a month, because it's after every 10 days you produce them. So it is giving an indication of how now you can imagine that we are talking, we are coming from the 6 months, we are trying to reduce into a month and then 10 days. From 10 days, we also have what we call the 7 days weather forecast, which are weekly. And these are also given twice in a week. And then from the 7 days now we have what we call the daily weather forecast, and those are also given at least twice in a day. So you can see that we have a whole series of these weather products as we give them. But of course, I think additionally...
Before you just go to another one,
yes.
What platform are you using to make sure that these weather forecasts are delivered timely and that your target audience are able to quickly access? What platform are you using?
Okay, so as the Zambia Meteorological Department, we have several platforms. One of them is, I think, Zanis. We can't run away. You are hosting us, and we are sharing that information with you. But of course, I think using our own platforms there, we are using the Facebook. We have an active Facebook page where we post all these products and services. Then apart from that one, we have made several WhatsApp groups for the media, for farmers and things like that, so that immediately we have those products and services, we're able to post on there. And then I think currently we should be running the SMS portal, a short messaging system portal, where we'll be sharing especially pertinent weather and climate products, so that at the end of the day, these products and services are meant for us to plan and make decisions. So I think those are some of the platforms we are using, but of course my colleague may add if there's something that I've left out.
Sure. Or maybe on the products and services?
Okay. Just to add on what Mr. Pila said, we also, I think, give out what we call climate data. We have some stations having almost 100 years of data. So that data we are giving for free, more especially for the academia, researchers. They are welcome to come to ZMD and we'll give them the data which is available. Then the other product we give is the aviation, to help the industry of aeronautical. So at the airport, like at our Kenneth Kaunda International Airport, we work 24 hours and we give weather to all the airlines operating at the airport. So that's part of the products we are giving as a department.
Okay, so just in the aeronautical area, Mr. Piri, you know that actually this is one area that majority of people don't know that you are actually present at the KKI, for instance. Try to explain a little bit more why it is important that you are present in such a way at KKI, for instance.
Okay. So I'll try to also come up with some historical background as to why and how meteorological services are found specifically at the airports. Yeah, during the time of the evolution of meteorology, primarily meteorology saved the transport space sector, and that was basically in the shipping industry. And so because the sailors at that time were experiencing a lot of weather challenges, and of course I think their knowledge basically was using the wind direction and speed to sail at sea. But of course at times they could also encounter things like heavy thunderstorms, and of course sometimes the ships would capsize and things like that. So that brought the evolution of trying to know the science of weather, and basically it was in the transport sector. And then from there, of course I will try not to go deep into it, but I think the services, the meteorological services for aviation purposes became widespread after the Second World War. And because at that time, I think that was also the time planes were being assembled and things like that.
And how are we doing as a country? How do we have the necessary equipment really to give accurate weather predictions?
Yes, we do have, although we still need more, because You may wish to know that the aviation industry is heavily regulated and it has to follow certain things that are prescribed by International Civil Aviation Organization as well as the World Meteorological Organization, WMO. So meaning that there are certain things that we need to fulfill, and also there are certain type of equipment very specific to the use at the airport that we need. And so I think I will go back to the question of what are the services that we are providing at the airports and why do we provide them. So at the airports, before an aircraft takes off and lands, one of the major issues that you to require is meteorological information. What is happening at that aerodrome? Okay, so what is happening at that aerodrome, we'll look at issues to do with where is the wind blowing from or where is the wind going, because an aircraft will take off and land against the wind. So ourselves as the meteorological department must provide that information, right? That's the first thing. Then that comes in form of what we call meteorological aviation reports, the METARs. Those are produced hourly. Okay, but in case something happens in between the hours, there's what we call the issuance of specific or specie reports, okay, which will indicate changes that have occurred. If they have reached a certain threshold, we need to alert the airlines or the aircraft coming that, hey, there's this, and so it's up to the pilot either to land or take off, depending on the capabilities of that aircraft. Then besides that one, we have what we call the terminal aerodrome focus. The terminal aerodrome focus, basically now these are focus specific to that particular aerodrome. Why that terminal aerodrome focused is because those that are coming to land, they need to understand what is it that I'm likely to find at that airport in terms of weather. Okay, do I have to carry enough fuel in case there are thunderstorms? Do they have to carry enough fuel so that maybe they are able to circle the aerodrome or they are able to go to an alternative aerodrome? So they will make decisions depending on the information that we are getting. Then the other one is what we call the route focus. We have to give a forecast of en route weather, okay? Are they going to experience headwinds? If they are going to experience, the aircraft is going to experience headwinds. What does it entail? It means the aircraft must burn a lot of fuel to counter that force against it, okay? Or is it going to have tailwinds? Will there be need to carry a lot of fuel? No, they won't. So they are saving, meaning they are making plans and decisions based on the information that we are giving them. So those are some of the specific services and products that we are able to offer at the airports.
Very important information. So as well, these changing weather patterns are actually making a very big impact. We've seen the adverse impacts on agriculture, for instance. We will take a break, but before we do that, I would like to find out from you. You know, it's been very cold, and we had rains. Is it some 4 or 5 days ago?
Yes.
In different parts of the country at this time of the year. In Lusaka, for instance, you don't expect that, but we had rains, unexpected rains. So I would like, before we go to the break, and you give us a full detailed presentation, I would like you to explain to us what do we expect in the next, say, 7 days or so. Do we see any change in the weather? It's been very cold, or do we see a shift?
Okay. What we are expecting in the next 7 days is we'll continue with the same winds, because we are experiencing strong winds. So the strong winds will continue, but we are anticipating that in the next 24 to 48 hours, we will have a slight pickup in the daytime temperatures. That is, we'll be having the same southeasterly winds, which are giving us this type of weather. But in the next 2 days, we'll see that the winds will be coming more or less from the tropics, which is a bit warmer, and this will tend to increase our daytime temperatures. But as we go to the 7 days, I think starting Saturday, going forward, we'll start receiving southeasterly winds, which will tend to reduce a bit, but not the way we had in the last 48 hours. We'll still have sunny, but we'll have more wind, which will try to reduce also temperature again. So that's what
we don't
expect
expect any more rain, do we?
The rains are more to the extreme northern parts of Zambia, that is the northern parts of Luapula, northern and Mchinga, and also touching Ikelenge areas in northwestern and the eastern parts of Zambia, but the extreme northern parts of eastern province.
Okay, thank you. So we'll let you do a presentation in a more detailed manner after this break, and so that we understand more. So we take a break, and after the break, we have a detailed presentation just to show us what's happening in the country and the changes in weather patterns. So join us after this break.
The Issue is a program that looks at topical issues happening in the country. Watch The Issue every Friday at 19:30 hours, only on Zanis TV, Channel 6 DTT and Channel 458 DTH on Topstar. Don't miss.
Welcome back to The Issue. Today we are discussing the unexpected weather changes that are sweeping across our country, leaving us with what you may call unseasonal rains and cold spells. We are hosting the Zambia Meteorological Department, and so we are getting into a detailed presentation that will show us what's been happening in the country, as well as what we expect in the next few days. So we have Ms. Tembo, who's going to do the presentation from the Zambia Meteorological Department. Let's watch this.
And the weather update, looking at the rainfall forecast in 5 days, we are seeing that much of the country is not expected to have significant rainfall activities. That is, we expect to have less than 2 millimeters in most parts of Zambia, where you are seeing white shade. Where we are anticipating rainfall activities is to the eastern parts of the country, the northern parts of Luapula, northern and Mchinga, and also Ikelenge areas in northwestern province. That's the 5-day rainfall forecast. Now going to the 10-day rainfall forecast, we are seeing that still much of the areas in the country, we are not expecting much of rainfall activities. We continue with eastern parts getting about 10 to 5 millimeters, 5 to 10 millimeters. Then to the northern parts of Zambia, that's why we are anticipating those areas to receive above 45 millimeters. Then Ikelenge areas also, we are anticipating that area to have 5 to 10 millimeters. That is in the 10-day rainfall forecast. Now, when we come to the temperature forecast, we are seeing that much of Zambia is expected to have temperatures ranging from 18 going to about 32 degrees Celsius. Lowest temperatures are expected to occur over the eastern parts of Zambia, and where we are expecting temperatures to go from 30 to 32 degrees Celsius is areas over western and going to southern province of Zambia. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tembo, for that presentation, and I'm sure this is information that is very helpful to all of us. It doesn't matter the sector in which you are working. This is information that helps us to make informed decisions. Before we close the program, Mr. Piri, let's hear from you what you are doing as ZMD in making sure that you don't remain behind as things are shifting. What are you doing as a department in this regard?
The Zambia Meteorological Department is at hand to ensure that whatever we are able to see and notice, we share accordingly, expeditiously, because weather and climate information, there is a saying which says it easily goes bad. You need to use it as quickly as possible.
Immediately, just
yes,
like
yeah?
news.
Because if you keep it, then the passage of time, that information becomes irrelevant, so to speak. Yeah, so I think the Zambia Meteorological Department is at hand to ensure that we share with the public all the necessary concerns or the observations that we are able to make.
Ms. Tembo, you've ably presented what we've been going through and what we expect in the next few days. Your final words before we close on this program?
Okay, thank you so much. I think in my last words, the only advisory, because what we are seeing is we are continuing with windy weather conditions, and I can advise the public to minimize outdoor activities because the winds, more especially in open areas, to protect themselves from diseases. Then the other part I'll talk of in areas where they are still having rainfall activities like the northern parts of Eastern, Luapula, Northern and Mchinga. I think farmers there, they should protect their harvested crops. And also the other thing is if they want to go into winter cropping, they can start now. Then afterwards, they can start irrigating. I think those are my last words.
I would like to thank you both.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Mika Tembo, Principal Meteorologist, Forecasting and Research.
Thanks so much.
Mr. Lyson Piri, Principal Meteorologist, Applied Services. Thank you so much. Each time we call on you, you come. You are readily available to come and provide this information. We are very grateful to your department.
We are equally grateful, at least Zanis, for affording us this platform. Of course, I think Zanis has a wider audience, and I'm sure our sharing information from Zambia Meteorological Department will definitely assist in the dissemination part of our mandate. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. And there you have it, an important discussion on the ever-changing weather patterns affecting our nation, expertly explained by our guests from the Zambia Meteorological Department. As we prepare to face whatever weather challenges ahead, let's take comfort in knowing that the Zambia Meteorological Department is diligently monitoring the skies and equipping us with the knowledge we need to stay safe and resilient. My name is Victor Mwila. Until next time, stay informed and stay safe. Goodbye for now.